Great. Excellent. So welcome to the vCon pre-TADHack session. We're just one day over a month from TADHack. So we will be in a month's time mid-hacking. So thank you to everybody who's joined. And without further ado, Thomas, please introduce vCons and how hackers can get set up in creating some amazing innovations using vCon. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you, Alan. After I found the mute button. Yeah, I don't know who invented the mute button.
I know.
Right. So hey, thanks for everyone for being here. My name is Thomas. I'm one of the core team developers for vCons and the conserver, and we'd like to go over just a few things today around what your assets are and what these things are and how this all works together. And Alan, this is going to be posted later on.
Yes. So later today, it's going to be posted. Yes.
That's great. And so what I'd like to do is just spend 5 minutes just really quickly going over the vCons again, because I know that some of you may be new to the process and not know what this is and does, and I'd be happy to show it to you. And then we'll show you, we've got two big assets I'd like you to consider using for your hack. You don't have to, but here are things that you could really use. So if let me just share my screen for a second, and we can talk about some of the basics of vCons. All right, so here we go. Sharing away. Let me see, where am I? Right. Oh, here we'll go from right there, I think. That'll
Yep, there you go. I can see it.
Really do it. Hold on, there you go. Only do it one. Where is it? There it is. Nope, sorry.
Yep.
Where is it? There. All right, there you go. All right. Okay, can you see that now?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, let's talk just for a second about how we got here. So I'm a member of a company called Strawlid, and Strawlid is actually in this day job. It's a car company. We help sell cars, but vCons came out of our technology, and primarily because we decided to listen to customers, but listening to customers isn't sufficient. A single recording can tell you what a customer said, but not who the customer was or what they were talking about, or how you've used it. So I want you to think about vCons as being the new file format for conversations. So if a Word file holds a document and an Excel file holds a spreadsheet, a vCon holds a conversation. And there are 4 parts of it, and the hacks are going to be around creating vCons and using them in really cool ways. So as a quick introduction, the vCons have 4 parts. The dialogues are the obvious part, is the recording, the transcript, the email, whatever communication that you want to put into the vCon, because it is a conversation, and that's the heart of the conversation. Another part is the parties, who is in the conversation. So basically, it identifies which people were in each recordings, and that's really important. For all kinds of good reasons. Regulations are among the most important, which is when we use recordings with AI, we need to keep track of what AI used which recordings, because people have the right to know what happened to their data. And so between the parties and the dialogues, we have a complete list of what happened and what the data was. At the bottom half are the attachments and the analysis. And so if the top half is parties and dialogues, the actual facts. These are indisputable ground facts. They're measurements. They're physics. There's numbers, right? The bottom half are actually more like opinions, and the attachment side gives you the context that you want to attach to the conversation. So, for instance, at Strawlid, we make phone calls because we have a car lead. In this case, we have a case where we put the lead as the attachment. So that way when we give the robot the transcription, it knows what we were talking about. Or another thing we're doing recently is we can have consent as an attachment. And so the consent is an attachment that tells you simply just a JSON, a simple structure that says, I collected consent, here's the consent I collected, here's the purpose I collected it for, and here's how long that consent is good for. Why? Because we also have to keep track of what people said you could do with their data. So the consent attachment helps you keep track of that. Finally, the analysis is a running list of all the things that we've done to convert the conversation into a transcript, to look for keywords, or to really, process it in the AI world. That analysis is basically a running ledger of everything that happened. Okay, this is a new standard by the IATF, and if it's new to you, I'd like you to introduce it really quickly. The IATF is the Internet Engineering Task Force. They're responsible for designing the protocols that define the internet. So if you ever used mail or the web, I'm not sure if you've ever used the web, huh? These are the things this is the protocols designed from the IATF, and the vCon is the latest edition of that. Okay, so let's talk about, that's the basic idea of a vCon. There's a related protocol called SCIT that we're not going to be talking about during this hackathon. We're going to make it nice and easy. But SCIT, just so you know, it enables transparency and trust. So what we can use SCIT for is to record the things that happen to the vCon. And that recordings of what happened to the vCon are things that regulators and auditors can use to make sure that companies are handling data correctly and that the data that was collected has not been changed. And if it was changed, who changed it? And if a customer goes, hey, I want to be forgotten, we record their customer's request and the company's deletion. So it's all pretty locked down. Okay, so let's talk about the actual, the two pieces of stuff we've got. And I'll start with the conserver. The conserver is an open source framework that we attach to phone systems and email systems and transcript systems that grab the information out and create vCons out of them. And in the process of creating a vCon, you can have them summarized and transcribed and keyword spotted. And the conserver is that thing which manages the creation of vCons. And once your vCon is created, you can do fun things like this. You can give that vCon directly to LLM and start asking questions about it. Like, what happened? Can you please translate this? Can you translate this call that's in Japanese into English and then into the form of a limerick? Which is something I don't do often, but every time I do, I don't feel sad because conversations in the form of limericks are like really awesome. And so so once you have a vCon, you can treat it just like any other file. You can attach it to an email, send it across a network, save it on a disk, give it to a robot. Okay, all that. So that's the introduction. That's the conserver. But what I'd like you to do is really focus in on using our new vCon library, which is a Python library, making vCons really easy to use, make it and use. So let me just go over that library for a second. So hold on, let me share this. Okay, can you see that?
Yep, loud and clear.
All right, so yeah, all right. So where'd it go? There it is. Okay, so here is our vCon library. It's a Python package. If you want to use it, all you have to say is pip install vCon. So it'll be right in your thing. And here's a good example of how you would use it to make a vCon. So there's a sample program here called example.py that gives you a vCon from the very start. So you simply make a new vCon, add callers. You remember the parties? Remember the parties from up here, right? So these are the parties that you are adding in to vCon. And then you can add dialogues. Here's a couple of dialogues here. And these are the actual recordings. You'll see our dialogues here are text dialogues. They can be email, they can be voice, they can be video. Here's a text example. And then we can add attachments. Here's a sentiment analysis, a transcript. And then finally, we can sign that vCon so it can't be changed after the fact. And that makes you a vCon. And so it's really simple to make. We're going to have a Slack channel that we have available to you if you have any questions on how to make a vCon. And we'd like you to use this library, but you don't have to. We think it's pretty easy to use and it makes valid vCon, so why not? And so these are the tools that we'd like you to use in creating those vCons. So that is the world's fastest introduction uh, to um, to uh, to the actual vCon itself. And before I get off into maybe thinking about use cases and stuff that might spur your imagination, any questions so far about what we're talking about here? And
I just wanted to make sure real quick. It sounded like once the Python library is done with it, all of the actual metadata storage is in JSON, you said?
yeah, exactly right. So the actual vCon itself is a JSON object to make it easy for the application guys, which was a recent conversation in the IATF around should it be CBOR, which is a binary format and faster on the wire, or JSON, which is easier for people to deal with. And we made the right decision, it's JSON. So once it's
Yeah.
done, it's just like a JSON. You can do it all day. And in fact, one of the fun things we have available here, if you're interested, is we've got two other repos. One's called a vCon Faker that allows you to make fake vCons. We do have one that runs all the time up on streamlit.io, and we will make sure that you have a chance to get that on there. So you can make them. You could make them. Hold on. I'll show you that later, I guess. Um, And the other is we also have a repo that allows you that already has fake vCons in it. So it's called
So you can just
down
get started
here.
playing.
Yeah, fake vCons. And so inside you'll see lots of fake conversations for your perusal. So okay,
Awesome.
that cool.
Yeah, this is gonna make it easy.
Trying, we're trying. So then let me just go over, if that's cool with you, then let me just go over with you some of the use cases that I think are really interesting and it might give you some idea about what the entirety of the opportunities are here. So sharing this for a second.
Yeah, because always the hackers want to know, so what's the challenges? So
Right. Here's the four different kinds of use cases that we see go with vCons all the time: customer experience, observability, transformation, and efficiency. So for instance, in customer experience, here are some fun things. You could take these conversations and get into ChatGPT and ask them questions about the vCons. Or you can make a conversational CRM that uses vCons to fill in CRMs. Or you can make vCons to do a diary of vCons. So imagine you made 15 vCons and you were to say, okay, I'm going to take them all together and see what happened in the day. Here is an example of what happened at BMW of Brooklyn, one of our customers in a day. And this was over 168 vCons for the day. This is what happened for the day. And so this would be almost like a Lang chain kind of idea. And then for process improvement, here's a classic one. We can take a vCon and say, is there an angry customer in here and why? So here's an example. We do this at Strawley. We take every customer conversation. We say, hey, is the guy angry? Or is he going to buy a car? Or what's he going to do? So that's a nice kind of use case to go to. And then finally, another good example is efficiency. And I showed you on this before, explain what happened in this call. You can also say things like, please write a letter back to this person to ask them if they'd buy the car if it was cheaper. Or there's some nice compliance use cases here where you can search a thing of vCons for a person's personal information. Okay. And by the way, all of these things are available up here in the vCon dev repo set. And so any questions about that?
No, that looks pretty straightforward.
Great. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, let me just find that that last thing I think about how to make fake vCons, because depending upon where you are in your process here, it might be easier for you to use this one versus one second here versus the other. So hold on. There we go. Let me share my screen here.
So this is, rather than setting up a full con server, you just use the faker to be able to create some fake vCons to be able to demonstrate whatever you're trying to hack.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep. So I'm starting up again. By the way, if you're unfamiliar with a framework called Streamlit, it allows you to write applications really simply using Python that have some pretty decent UI stuff with it. And Streamlit.io will host those for you independently. So and for free. So as this is coming up, yeah, it should make it pretty easy. So we had some challenges, right, Alan? Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to just so you want to put it in your words or?
It's on the TADHack site. So if you go to TADHack and then you hop over to well, let me try from my side, just so you know how it is.
I guess I'll fix that.
Okay. Because we've got the dev resources on the TADHack site for Strolid vCon. It's just waiting for the site to load. There you go. Okay, dev resources. Then you click on Strolid. There you go.
And TSG, you guys are all here.
Exactly. They wanted to see how an old hand does it.
Oh yeah.
So we've got 4 challenges for vCon. There's the search and filter. There's automated responses. There's customer segmentation, and then there's a stretch challenge, which is to implement an integration that depends on both vCon and Skit. So that is the stretch challenge, but that is the vision that Strolid is moving towards.
Yeah, so let's push this in for a second on the customer segmentation challenge.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Really interesting. So basically, so here's how I describe vCons to people who are coming out for the first time. For a really long time, we said we listened to customers, but we didn't actually listen to customers. And so a vCon contains the actual transcripts and of what people said. So it's real. And that gives us the ability to, and it says who said it, right? So those two things together allow us to do what's called a customer segmentation. So given this set of conversations, and imagine that they represent customer conversations, what kind of customers do you have? How many are of each? Are they older? Are they younger? Are they from different geographies? Are they from different economic statuses? How do you understand your customer segmentation? Well, today in the old world, you do segmentation through surveys and through hard work. But when you take the vCons as the input and an LLM as your tool set, then you can do some segmentation stuff right off the bat. So for instance, you could say, tell me how many of my customers have complained in the last month. Of the ones who have complained in the last month, who are they and how are they different from the ones who haven't? Segmentation.
Yep.
Right. So and all you need are the vCons. And again, I've got some fake vCons if you don't want to make them yourself. You can make them yourself. But that's the whole idea behind the whole segmentation side.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are there descriptions for the other categories that you just mentioned, Alan? for kind of what they're looking for?
Yes, exactly. So if you go to the TADHack site, then you'll see there's the sponsors, then resources. You click on Strolid and the resources section. It's all on the landing page, and that'll take you to a page that goes through and explains the 4 challenges.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Cool.
Well, any questions during the process? We're gonna make sure you have the Slack channel.
Yep.
And email's great. And if Alan feels like we have to have another meetings earlier, just fine too. Happy to do that to you.
Cool. Excellent. Any other questions? I can see we've got George, we've got Linda. So we've got good South African representation here as well, which is nice.
Great.
If not, again, that was excellent overview. There's a Slack channel. Again, just go to TADHack.com, click on the Strolid Dev Resources, and you'll see the link to get to the Slack channel. And don't worry, if it's expired by the time you click on it, tell me, and I'll get it updated. But again, thank you so much. That was an excellent overview, Thomas. And I'll see all of you in less than a month. Speak to you soon.
Thanks all. Bye.